Hello, I'm Richard Beech with SonicState Amped, SonicState's guitar channel, and today I'm looking at something that you might not have heard of before. They are NoiseKickFX, an effects company from Maryland in America. And yeah, I'm going to be taking a look at two pedals that they've sent us over. But before we do anything, I'm just going to explain my signal chain today to you. I'm using our new Taylor custom solid body electric guitar, and we've opted today for the 3 single coil setup that we've got in there, so it's pretty much a Strat sound really. We have also got another pickguard that has 3 humbuckers in there, and that's not being used today. But what is then happening is I am being plugged straight into the Waxer drive, which is one of the NoiseKickFX pedals, and the Waning Boost, which is the other one, and then going into a Behringer tuner, which I'm sorry is not our normal choice, but our Polytune isn't available right at this moment in time, unfortunately. And then that is going out to my Egneter Rebel 20, and just so you know, the clean sound on there, the master's down, the gain's sort of almost at noon, which is quite a clean sound, and on the EQ I've got bass at 3 o'clock, treble at about 1 o'clock, and mid at noon, and I'm running on about 13 watts at the moment. So there you go, and the tube mix is slightly orientated towards EL84s rather than using the power from the 6V6s. And then that is going into our Dragoon 1x12 vintage 30 speaker cab, and that is going into our SE Electronics Voodoo microphone, which is a ribbon mic, and which is what we always use, so hopefully you can get a good idea of what these pedals sound like in comparison to other pedals that we review. So let's get underway then. I'm going to play what my clean sound is, because the idea of these pedals is that I've got 2 clean boosts, a drive setting, and a fuzz section as well. So today is all about distortion, basically. So I'll let you know what the dry signal is like. So here we go. So let me start with a bit of background then to the pedals. I will start by playing the Waning Boost, which is our 2 clean boosts, and tell you what each of those are. But the pedal, like I said, the pedal company is run from Maryland in the USA by one guy called Matthew Zuckerman, and he has stock pedals that you can go and purchase on his website. What he'll also do is say, if you like a particular pedal, or if you want one type of sound with another type of sound, like you say you wanted a tremolo and a chorus, or a tremolo and a distortion, then he'll put it together for you, give you a custom design, even ask you what color LEDs you want, or if there's anything specific you want in the pedals. And he'll put it all together for you and send it over. And what I've got here is 2 pedal houses, but I've got 4 stomp switches, and each of those does something quite different, which I'll explain in a bit. So what I'm going to start with is my dark side setting, which is a linear power booster, basically. So it's a clean boost, and as you will see on these pedals, everything is kind of based on the moon and the stars, which is obviously something that I had custom done for me because that's something I'm very interested in. So dark side then. This is just a clean boost. This is what it sounds like on. And then without. So you can just see it's good for, like, you know, getting a bit of a volume boost going into a solo, and it does just very, very slightly and gently break up the valves on my amp. I usually use it in conjunction with other parts of my effects chain. I've also got the Full Moon, which is basically based on a MOSFET transistor, so it's a MOSFET boost. It will give you a bit more bite than the linear power boost. So this is what it sounds like without, and then with. And it's quite a nice kind of classic blues tone, so let's do something along those lines. Here we go. So it pushes air. It's a nice. It's the kind of boost that I think you can feel through the speaker. It's only a 1x12, but still you can kind of you can get a bit more power out of it than you can the other side. But you know, they're just clean boosts. There's nothing particularly incredible or outstanding about them. They do what they say on the tin. The more interesting side of what's going on is the waxer drive. So what I have here, I have a fuzz section and a sort of a drive or a crunch section. None of the distortions on this are that over the top because it's just not my personal style, but if you did want something really over the top, you could have it. On the fuzz section, I really love the sound of the Fox Electronics Tone Machine and things like the Woolly Mammoth fuzz. I'm a big fan of kind of over the top motorcycle fuzz rather than blues fuzz. But the good thing about this, the fuzz setting I have here, is that you can get those mellower blues fuzz kind of sounds, and you can also get really gnarly fuzz sounds as well. At the moment, I've got it kind of in between. So I can get something a bit creamy and bluesy. And I can also get something kind of more modern sounding fuzz as well. So there we go. If I roll it off and get it towards a more bluesy sound, basically, unhelpfully for most people, all of the settings on here are actually named after things to do with the moon, which is a bit stupid, but I know what they all do, so it doesn't matter too much. And let me just fiddle around with them so I can show you what they're doing. So if I just play an E. Then you can hear the Eclipse is basically just it's just scooping some of the high and the lows in the EQ, and then the Umbra. The Umbra kind of changes the shape of the fuzz slightly, so that you can get a more mellow blues sound when you've got it anti-clockwise, and if you get it clockwise, you can get a really gnarly biting fuzz, and it also kicks in a noise gate as well, so that if I've got that up full whack, when I'm not playing, it kicks out the sound, it kicks out the signal quite quickly. Sounds a bit weird with the full way up, but it's kind of nice on 3 o'clock. And then Zenith, here that's just my output. And then Gibbous is basically another section of the EQ that does something very slightly different. I have had it explained to me, and I'm not exactly sure what the difference between that and the normal EQ is, but I know that with the Eclipse, which is just the EQ, you get less highs when you turn it anti-clockwise, and you get more highs when you turn it clockwise. But I know that Gibbous does stuff to the actual amount of fuzz that is used in certain areas of the frequency spectrum. So that does something a bit more interesting. And what I'm going to do is just get something a bit kind of mellow going on there. And then get something a bit crazy, so here we go. So the last section that I have here is my drive, which is quite a kind of classic drive sound, and I wanted it to sound like that kind of classic Marshall Bluesbreaker type distortion sound. So I've got 3 controls here: Crescent, Aphelion, and Apogee. Crescent is my drive, so if I actually click that in, here's what it sounds like clean, by the way. And then when I engage, so if I want to add a bit more drive, like I do, I've got a bit of a crackly pot there, which is annoying. And then I'm not a massive fan of kind of like high mids and trebles in my EQ, so take the Aphelion down a bit, and then my Apogee is just my output. So hold that off a bit too much, but here you go. Here's the kind of sound you can get from it. And then, to be honest, I rarely ever use that without any of the other pedals. I like to also have another boost going through that. So, what I want to do now is just combine a few of these effects to show you the kind of sounds that I get from them. So here's a little recap, just to show you what each of those sound like in comparison to each other. My dark side, which is my linear power boost, I just use that for adding a nice bit of sparkle to clean sounds. So. And then my full moon, which is the MOSFET-based clean boost, I use that for basically adding a very slight amount of blues crunch to stuff. So if I'm doing a bluesy riff. And then I also combine that a lot with the other pedals as well. Fuzz pedal, like I said, can go from anything from a bluesy fuzz to a full-blown crazy fuzz, and then everything in between. So this is what it sounds like in crazy mode, and I'll just play a kind of a classic fuzz riff for you. So. And then without that, it sounds like this. Quite uninspiring, actually. It's amazing what riffs, how riffs can be completely changed by a pedal. And then the kind of the classic crunch drive section that I've got without it sounds like this. So like I said, that is just, all it is just a very standard classic drive sound. And then if you combine a few things like the full moon with the drive. And then let's put a clean boost with some fuzz. So there you go. Those are my kind of 4 stages of my personal NoiseKickFX, well, pair of pedals, I guess we should say. And like I said earlier on, you can get anything you want really housed in any way you want. And the prices do vary depending on what you're having. But this was $300 for essentially four things that do separate things and that have separate uses and that also can be used together. It's something that I particularly needed for my rig, and it stops me from having to go out and spend a lot of money on, you know, a particular brand of pedal that might only do one of these things. And also, like I said, they have stock pedals, so definitely worth going on there, checking out the company. At the moment, it's a very new enterprise. I think they're only on Facebook. They're doing really well on Facebook. I think they've got like 1,500 likes or something. But if you go to facebook.com/NoiseKickFX, then you will get to his Facebook page. There's pictures of all the custom jobs, a list of all the stock pedals as well. And if you go on YouTube as well, and you can check out Matthew from NoiseKick doing reviews of his own pedals, which is always handy. So there you go. So guys, if you want more great video reviews and more guitar news every day, then make sure you like us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/SonicAmped. We also have a feed of all of our news going out on Twitter, which again is @SonicAmped on Twitter. And our web URL, as you probably know, is sonicstate.com/amped. So please keep watching, and thank you very much for checking this video out.